My name is Elena, and I am 28 years old. And sometimes, when the evening light touches my window in a gentle, golden way, I remember the first moment I thought love could save me. It was a warm afternoon 3 years ago. The sun was soft, the kind of soft that makes the world look safe for a moment. I was sitting alone on a small bench in the park, trying to breathe through another heavy week of work and loneliness. My life felt gray back then, like I was walking through a long tunnel with no end. Then I saw him, Daniel. He smiled at me like he had known me forever. And in that 1 second, something inside my chest opened. It felt like light entered a place that had been dark for too long. My heart beat a little faster, not in fear, but in hope. Hope that maybe I wasn't invisible. Hope that maybe someone could understand me. That day became the beginning of a story I believed would heal me. But now, looking back, I understand something painful. Sometimes the light we run toward is only the beginning of a deeper shadow. In the early days, everything felt easy. We walked through the city at night, laughing at small things only we found funny. We shared stories about our childhoods, our dreams, our fears. He told me I had the kind of smile that makes people believe in good things again. No one had ever said something like that to me. Maybe that is why I believed him so quickly. I felt seen. Truly seen. We spent hours talking in cafes, holding warm cups of coffee while rain touched the windows. I remember thinking, this is what love feels like. This is what safety feels like. I felt chosen, like someone had finally picked me out of the world and said, you matter. My friends told me I looked different, lighter, happier, and I did. Because I believed he loved me, not only for who I was, but for who I could become. But love is strange. Sometimes it starts as a warm fire and becomes something that burns you without warning. It happened slowly. So slowly that I didn't notice the change at first. He started making small comments, nothing cruel, just sharp enough to make me doubt myself. You're too sensitive. You worry too much. Why can't you be more relaxed? I wanted to make him happy, so I adjusted myself little by little. I changed how I dressed. I changed how I spoke. I changed my plans to match his. I told myself this was love-giving, compromising, being flexible. But inside, something felt uneven, unbalanced. I ignored the feeling. I told myself, this is normal. Every relationship has problems. But another voice inside whispered something more honest. I thought it was love. But it was the start of disappearing. As months passed, the silence between us grew heavier. Small arguments turned into long, quiet nights. I would sit on the edge of my bed, staring at my phone, waiting for a message that never came. I started apologizing for things I didn't even understand. I told myself I was lucky to have him, even when his eyes felt distant. The truth was simple, but painful. I was afraid of losing him. I was more afraid of losing him than losing myself. I pretended everything was fine. When he canceled plans, I smiled and said, it's okay. When he forgot important dates, I told him it didn't matter. When he stopped holding my hand in public, I acted like I didn't notice. But alone, behind closed doors, the doubt grew louder. Was I not enough? Was I too much? Was there something wrong with me? I felt myself shrinking, like a small voice trapped inside a body that no longer felt like mine. The truth came on a quiet evening. I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't trying to catch him. But sometimes life reveals what we try so hard not to see. I saw a message pop up on his phone. A name I didn't recognize. A message that no friend would send. My heart didn't break loudly. It didn't explode. It simply stopped. I felt cold, like all the warmth of the past months had left my body at once. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, listening to the slow, painful echo of my heartbeat. He tried to explain. He said it wasn't serious, that it didn't mean anything, that I was overreacting. But in that moment, the real truth hit me. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was everything I had sacrificed to keep his love. It was the pieces of myself I had thrown away for a promise that was never real. The world didn't fall apart in one dramatic scene. It broke quietly. Inside my chest. After he left that night, the apartment felt colder than winter. I sat on the floor, not even strong enough to stand. The room looked bigger, emptier, like he had taken all the air with him. Rain started outside, tapping against the windows like soft, sad fingers. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. The tears were stuck somewhere deep inside. I looked around my apartment, my own home, and realized something painful. Nothing in that room felt like mine anymore. Not the pictures. Not the clothes. Not the dreams. Not even me. I had changed so much trying to keep him that I couldn't recognize myself. That night, I whispered the truth out loud for the first time. I didn't lose him. I lost myself. And that was the lowest point of my life. The morning after he left, the world did not end. The sun still rose. Cars still moved outside. People still went to work. But inside my small apartment, everything felt strange. It felt like my life had been turned upside down and then put back in the same place. But wrong. I woke up and reached for my phone, like I always did, ready to check his messages. There was nothing. Just a cold, bright screen. I lay in bed for a long time, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how everything could look the same but feel completely different. When I finally stood up, the floor felt heavy under my feet. The silence in the room was loud. No music, no laughter, no good morning from him. I walked to the window and opened it a little. The air came in, soft and cool, touching my face. And in that moment, a simple sentence came to my mind. Everything felt different. Even the air. Brushing my teeth felt hard. Making coffee felt hard. Getting dressed felt like I was acting in someone else's life. I was alone. Not just without him, but without the version of myself that lived for him. The first days were the hardest. But slowly, very slowly, something inside me started to move. One afternoon, I looked around my apartment and saw clothes on the chair. Empty cups on the table, dust on the shelves. The room looked like my heart, messy, tired, and ignored. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel brave. But I picked up one shirt. Just one. Then I picked up another. I washed the dishes. I opened the curtains wider. I let more light in. I didn't know it then, but these were my first small steps back to myself. I started going for short walks after work. At first, my feet felt heavy. I kept my head down, watching the ground as I walked. But the fresh air helped me breathe a little easier. I watched the sky, the trees, the people passing by. I realized the world was still big, even without him in it. I tried to eat properly again. Not just snacks or fast food, but real meals. Simple things, soup, rice, fruit. I wasn't trying to be healthy. I was just trying to show my body that it deserved care, even if my heart still hurt. Some nights, I sat on the edge of my bed and whispered to myself. Healing didn't look beautiful. It looked slow. It was not like in movies. There was no big moment where I suddenly felt free. No dramatic music. Just small choices, every day, to keep going. One weekend, while cleaning my closet, I found an old sketchbook. It was from years ago, before I met Daniel. Before the relationship. Before I started changing myself to fit into his world. I opened it and saw drawings of flowers, city streets, faces of strangers. They were not perfect, but they were mine. I had forgotten that I used to love drawing. I used to sit by the window with a pencil in my hand and lose track of time. I used to dream of taking an art class one day, of filling a whole wall with my own pictures. But in the years with him, my sketchbook stayed hidden, deep inside the closet. I sat down on the floor with that old book, and my eyes filled with tears, not because of him, but because of me. Because of the girl who loved to draw and who had quietly disappeared. My hands were shaking. but I took a pencil and tried to draw again. My lines were not smooth. My style felt rusty. But as the pencil moved, something in my chest softened. For the first time in many months, my mind was not thinking about him. It was thinking about shapes, lines, shadows, light. For a moment, the world felt bright again. It was just a small drawing on an old page. But to me, it was a sign. I was still here. Somewhere under the pain, I was still alive. Letting go did not happen in one day. It happened in soft, quiet moments, like when I stopped checking my phone every hour, hoping to see his name. Like when I deleted our old photos from my wallpaper. Like when I stopped replaying every conversation in my head, trying to understand what I did wrong. One evening, I sat on my bed with a box full of memories. Tickets from movies we watched together. Notes he wrote for me. Little gifts that once made my heart jump. I took each object into my hands and felt the weight of it. Not just the physical weight, but the emotional one. Every item felt like a small stone I had been carrying in my chest. I closed my eyes and imagined myself standing in front of a long road, holding a heavy bag. The bag was full of guilt, questions, and broken promises. And in my mind, I did something simple. I set the bag down. Another picture came. A small bird in my hands, shaking, afraid to fly. The bird was my past, my pain, my need for his approval. I imagined opening my hands and letting it go, watching it fly into a wide open sky. I opened my eyes and took a deep breath. For the first time, I said the words out loud. Maybe I deserved better. The sentence felt strange on my tongue, but also powerful. I repeated it again and again, until the words didn't scare me anymore. Letting go was not about forgetting him. It was about choosing not to carry him in my heart, in my thoughts, in my future. Little by little, I stopped asking, what was wrong with me? Instead, I started asking, what is right with me? I began writing in a small journal at night. At first, I wrote about the pain, the confusion, the anger. But slowly, I started to write other things. I am kind. I listen to people. I try my best. I feel deeply, and that is not a weakness. I spent more time with friends who made me feel safe. We cooked together, watched movies, went for walks. They didn't push me to move on quickly. They just stayed beside me, letting me be sad, letting me be quiet, letting me be myself. One friend looked at me one night and said, "You know, you give so much love. Don't forget that you deserve love too, especially from yourself." Those words stayed with me. I started to understand something important. My value did not come from being someone's girlfriend. It did not come from how pretty I looked, how calm I stayed, or how much I gave. My value was already there, in my heart, in my story, in the simple fact that I exist. One early morning, months after the breakup, I woke up before the sun. I put on a sweater and walked outside. The streets were still quiet, the sky slowly changing from dark blue to soft pink. I walked to a small hill near my home, a place where I could see the city below me. The air was cool, but gentle. I watched the sunrise, slowly filling the world with light. As I stood there, I thought about everything that had happened, the love, the betrayal, the nights of crying, the small steps of healing, the old dreams returning. I realized I was not the same person anymore. I was softer and stronger at the same time. I knew my pain, but I also knew my worth. I smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because I finally felt like my life was mine again. In that quiet moment, with the new day opening in front of me, I made a promise to myself. One day, someone may love me again, but this time, I won't forget to love myself first. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like enough.